U.S. Marshals have raided Sheriff Joe's office. We didn't get a chance to cover a couple of these stories. Not that they're old. I think they're important to talk about, okay? Because whether you like... by the way, you and I are on opposite ends of the spectrum. I like Sheriff Joe as an old guy that I'd like to sit down and eat macaroni with.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
I did say that.
I have a bowl of macaroni with the guy.
I met Sheriff Joe face-to-face, person-to-person. And you and I have also come to an agreement that somebody like that with that level of charisma gets to where they're at because of that charisma.
Yeah.
So I was mesmerized by it all.
Sure.
I say mesmerized. I like the guy, personally.
Sure.
I do, but the guy... At the same time, we need to be critical of him. This guy was in charge of the DEA in Mexico, and I'm sure had some sort of a hand, whether it be good or evil, I don't care. Good side or bad side, with the drug flow coming up through Mexico into the United States of America.
He definitely knows about it.
Yeah. Exploited that notoriety and that charisma in order to propel him onto the national scene to bust Barack Obama, whatever, Barack Obama's balls.
Right.
But here's the point. Set aside whether you like or dislike Sheriff Joe. Okay? Because of what he has done publicly to Barack Obama politically, the government has, through force, intimidated and they busted his freaking door down. The U.S. Marshals have raided Sheriff Joe's office. The judge ordered seizure of records, hard drives, in a racial profiling case. Okay? Is Sheriff Joe a racist? I'm going to tell you something right now. Okay? That dude is not a freaking... He's not a racist.
Yeah,
he's an old Italian guy. I don't think this whole
thing is about race.
This guy is a freaking straight-up immigrant Italian. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about this.
Yeah.
There isn't such thing as racial profiling stuff against Hispanics. This is what I will say. Say I'm going to lock my freaking borders down. Okay? So don't tell me, well, Sheriff Joe might be racially profiling if you're Hispanic. No, I'm going to tell you something. He, like Donald Trump said to some of the corporations that, hey, you're outspoken against illegal immigration. Donald Trump responded by saying, it's freaking illegal.
Yeah. It's illegal.
Why would you not be?
Right.
So Sheriff Joe, I think, takes that same stance. Like, I don't want freaking illegal immigrants running around all over freaking Phoenix. And he had immigrants from Guatemala being dumped in the streets down at the local Greyhound station. Right?
Yeah.
I did speak to... But here is the U.S. Marshal office, because they say, oh, well, it's not about the Obama thing. Right? They say it's plausible deniability.
Yeah.
They say it has nothing to do with your attack on Barack Obama's birth certificate.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with your racial profiling thing. They send the U.S. Marshals into his office. A judge last Friday ordered the seizure of identification documents and computer hard drives from Sheriff Joe Arpaio's office and chastised his attorneys for failing to turn over that evidence requested months ago in a racial profiling case against the Arizona lawman. Now, how many times was the government asked to provide information, let's say, Hillary Clinton's hard drive information, right?
Yeah.
If I were Sheriff Joe, I'd say, F you, give us Lois Lerner's emails, and then I'll release this racial profiling stuff. How about that, right?
Right.
Because it has been determined in court documentation that the IRS and the Department of Justice has specifically targeted patriots that are supportive of Sheriff Joe Arpaio. That's what this whole thing is about right now, back and forth. It's not about justice.
Yeah.
It's about political intimidation and finagling at the expense of whom? At the expense of our constitutional republic. That's what I think it is. So anyways, I bring that story up. They're going after Sheriff Joe. Personally, I like Sheriff Joe. He may have his deficiencies. Set all that aside and look at what your government is doing to keep a man like Sheriff Joe Arpaio silenced.